Welcome to Exploring Anime with Friends, a JMO for Real podcast on Spotify, Apple, and YouTube. I'm your host, JMO. And today's friend is my wife and co-host, Sarah.
Hi, everyone.
How's it going today, Sarah?
It's going great. I'm excited for this one today.
Oh, yes, I'm excited to get... This is the official beginning of Exploring Anime with Friends, Movie Edition.
Yay!
What better way to start it off than the way we started off Season 1, right at the beginning, with Spy Family.
I love Spy Family, so I'm good with this one.
Yeah, so in today's episode, we'll be exploring the world of Spy Family, the movie Code White. It is a spy thriller set in modern day and with a little bit of slice of life to it, released in April of 2024. For the next 15 to 20 minutes, we will be exploring the movie Code White. First, we will lay the groundwork for what the world of Spy Family looks like. Next, we will look at our main protagonist and where they are in relation to the beginning of the story and what plot drives them to that point. Third, we will take a look at their antagonist and the mission that they have to accomplish in order to save the world.
Dun, dun, dun.
And finally, we will go a little bit into that mission and explore the ins and outs as we follow Lloyd, Yor, and Anya. And remember, if you like what you hear today, follow us on social media, linked in the show notes. All right, just give us a quick recap of the Spy Family universe and introduce us to what the premise behind the series is, not necessarily the movie.
Okay, so basically we have two countries that are kind of in a little bit of a Cold War sort of. Lloyd, who that's not his real name, frankly we don't know his real name, is a spy from Westalis being sent into Astania to try to get to know Desmond King. Now, Desmond King is kind of a recluse. He stays his own, but he has a very young son. So Lloyd's mission is to get a family together, a wife and a child, and get this child to go into this really crazy, frankly, it's more like a college-level school, even though they're starting out in, what we would call first grade, and get her to either be friends with Desmond's son, or get her to earn these special Stella stars, basically making it out like she's an outstanding student, to get invited to this big fancy party that Desmond King puts on eventually.
Yep, and the daughter's name is Anya, and tell us a little about her special powers.
So, Anya can read people's minds. She's constantly kind of afraid that if it's found out that, I don't know, they'll return her to the orphanage or something because she's an orphan. So she's keeping it hidden. But yeah, she reads people's minds.
And there's a mom, too, and she's got her own secrets as well, doesn't she?
Yes. Yor's an assassin. It's really funny because, when she's not, in her element, killing people, she's kind of, not klutzy, but,
I mean, you could call her klutzy.
Klutzy works.
Naive.
Yeah, very, very naive, and she's just kind of, happy-go-lucky. And then when, you see the mood shift when her eyes go from, this big, round eyes to, the very serious anime eyes that we all know. And it's someone's gonna die and it's not her.
Yeah, so throughout the series, we're following the antics of this family as they're all trying to keep their secrets from each other, and obviously Anya knows all the secrets. Let's also mention their dog, Bond, who is a seer. And that just adds even more complications to the whole family dynamic. And that brings us to where we are at the start of this story. Lloyd is being pulled aside by Handler right at the very beginning, and he's being told that he's needed for a more important mission. Because frankly, they're not making enough progress quick enough on Operation Strix. So the thought is they're going to dissolve the Forger family, they're going to bring in somebody new to take over Operation Strix, and Lloyd is going to be taken to another mission that is more urgent and is more important at this current point in time. But Lloyd doesn't want the Forger family to be over yet. He really just wants it to continue. He knows he can do this. He believes in them. And frankly, I think we all kind of think that, on Crunchyroll, they have this advertised as under the category Just Get Married Already.
Yeah.
And it kind of feels like we all just kind of want at this point in time. And it feels like Lloyd has some level of feeling for the Forger family at this point in time. So he's thinking, if we're able to get a Stella Star, I might be able to do both of these missions at the same time, and they might keep me on Operation Strix. And that day, Anya comes home with some great news.
Oh yeah, it's some fantastic news. There is a cooking competition for her class. And whoever wins...
Yum, yum, yum.
Yeah, right. Whoever wins gets a Stella Star.
Okay, all right. And Lloyd might actually know a way that they could potentially win, too, right?
Lloyd recognized the judge, and because Lloyd's just Lloyd, he actually knows the preferred dessert, and they're cooking desserts that the judge would like the most.
Yep, and that dessert is something called Mary Mary. It's located at a very specific restaurant in a very specific part of the world. So he decides that they're going to go there that weekend. But before we get too far down that path, let's backpedal a little, because this is an unexpected trip, isn't this?
This is a very unexpected trip. Initially, while Yor is just kind of like leaving the office with like her co-workers, one of them is talking about how one of their friends, like their husband, was cheating on them, and they give a list of these are the things that you need to look out for to know if your husband's cheating or not. And Yor's just picking up on them. Well, she kind of checks the boxes as the movie's going along, though, which just kind of adds to some of the humor, because she's like, what happens if, like, this is her cover. This is her cover for being an assassin. Being a married woman is much less suspicious than being an unmarried one. So if Lloyd were to suddenly, like, go off and be with someone else, it would look bad for her. So now she's getting paranoid because, like, unexpected trips, that's one of the things.
And she saw Lloyd with one of the other agents in the alley, too. So that just kind of complicates things even further, too.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, unexpected trips. But because she was invited to come along and it was turned into a family trip, it wasn't as much of a sign. Though the other two do come up later in the movie. But it's just kind of funny because they're not even like a real family. But I'm not trying to minimize it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, she needs the cover either way.
Yep. And frankly, she has feelings for both Lloyd and Anya at this point in time.
Oh, yeah.
They all have feelings for each other at this point in time. So it would actually be something that would be very detrimental to what they could potentially come.
Yeah.
And now this brings us to our point where they all go away for the weekend. And on the train ride there, Anya has a little bit of a run-in.
Oh, gosh. Okay, so she goes to use the bathroom, and Bond is with her because it's not a family trip without Bond. And Bond gets this vision that she sees, of course, because she can read minds, of Anya opening up this suitcase, and there's this thing inside. You don't see
treasure.
It. Some kind of treasure. Like, Anya's eyes are sparkling, and it's very awesome looking. So Anya's like, well, we gotta figure this one out. And conveniently, there's this random key sitting, like, on the sink in the bathroom.
Yeah.
So
well, that key is the thing that triggered the
that's
premonition for Bond. If it wasn't there, then it wouldn't have happened.
Of course.
So Anya follows it all through, and she ends up accidentally eating a chocolate. Yeah, accidentally eating. You guys have to watch it, because I'm not going to go into full detail.
I honestly thought Bond was going to be the one to do it, just the way it happens.
And of course, that chocolate has a microfilm on the inside of it.
Yep.
And that microfilm has all of the secrets that are going to restart the war between Westalis and Ostania. And the two agents, they see Anya and they identify her. And then just as they're about to corner her, Yor steps in and kicks their butts.
Yep.
Really hard.
That's what Yor does. Close your eyes, Miss Anya, and just lays them flat.
So they get to the restaurant, they get to the place where they check in, they get to the restaurant, and they order their food, and they order the Mary Mary. And it's the last Mary Mary left.
Of course it is.
Enter our antagonist.
General Snidel. I said that
yes. Right. Person who would literally take desserts from children.
Yes.
Literally take desserts from children.
He pretty much demands Mary Mary. And they're like, oh, we're sorry, the last one just sold. And he can see the last slice just like 4 tables away. And he's like, that one. And they're like, no, it's sold. And he's like, yeah, bring it over here.
Yeah, and he's pretty high up in the Ostania military, so it's one of those things where you really can't say no. And though they did say no, but his soldiers went and got it anyway, he wins a little bit of a competition with Lloyd in order to get it. A competition where...
That was rigged.
It wasn't rigged. It was actually fair, because Lloyd, being who he was, should have seen the competition for what it was. Lloyd got outplayed by somebody who was a genius. This man has power, and this man was a genius also. So, a excellent opponent for Lloyd. So, through the process of this whole thing, it's one of those things where they realize that they're going to have to figure out how to get another piece of Mary Mary. And they decide that, hey, they talk to the restaurant owners, and they're kind of like, hey, if we get the ingredients of it, will you make it for us tomorrow morning before you go back? And the restaurant owner's like, yeah, sure, definitely will. So they go out, and it's kind of like they're in a rush to get all the ingredients, and they find everything through various different means except for the non-alcoholic cherry liqueur. And it's one of those things where it's really just kind of tearing them apart. Lloyd has to leave later on that night to meet up in order to get a chance at getting one of them. And at that point in time, there's a little breakdown in the family dynamic.
Yeah.
Because Anya really just wants to spend time with them. And he's been running around trying to find it this whole time. And Yor goes to bat for Anya.
She
and
does.
Right as they're getting on the same page and they're all deciding to drive off together, just before that, Bond chimes in again.
So Anya's in her, like, the bedroom part of the suite they're in, and Bond has a vision of the non-alcoholic cherry liqueur. And Anya's like, I'm gonna go find it.
Yeah, and so she's following that. Yeah, Bond just kind of saves the day and derails the whole movie.
He really does.
Right?
He really does. That's
so,
boy.
And, I think this is the point where we mentioned that, by the way, the mission that Twilight was going to get pulled off of Operation Strix for, he now finds himself in the middle because his interactions with the Colonel and the microfilm that Anya swallowed both have to deal with the mission that he is going to be taking on.
But he doesn't know about the microfilm yet. It's just that General is part of that.
But he is currently finding out information about that because the other agent comes to the door and lets him know.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why there was going to be the meetup. So he does know about it at this current point in time.
Yeah, that's fair.
And also, he was going to try to get the cherry liqueur also. But so Anya's off getting the cherry liqueur, and they're trying to figure out where Anya is. They're searching everywhere for her. And soon, the two people run into Anya.
Yeah, the two guys from they took a train there. The two guys from the train find Anya.
Or I should say the wrong two people. It wasn't Lloyd and Yor. It was the two guys from the train. Yeah, so they capture her and they bring and you find out at this point in time they're working for the Colonel.
Of course.
And that Anya now knows that she swallowed the microfilm that has the secrets that restart the war, and this is the thing because she already knows that Lloyd is distressed that he might be pulled off the mission for a different mission, and Anya puts two and two together and she realizes I gotta not poop.
Well, because they ask her if she's done that yet, and she's like no, and kind of a weird question. And yeah, she realizes that if she poops, then that's the microfilm. They'll have the microfilm.
And they're up in a giant aircraft fortress and all sorts of things going on. And eventually Twilight figures out what's going on, and he gets a plane.
Yeah,
and he
because
flies up in the jet, and he has a stowaway with him too, right?
Yep, Yor hitchhikes.
Yeah, Yor hitchhikes, and Twilight is forced to crash the jet into the giant aircraft fortress, and that's when everything begins, because Twilight gets off, Lloyd gets off quietly, but Yor doesn't.
Oh, yes. So, while Yor's trying to, figure things out and be helpful somehow, she's approached by, did they give a name for whatever that person was?
Some sort of cyborg man of war.
Yeah, something crazy.
They might have given a name or a number or something. It's we won't go too much into that.
And so she has to do battle with this not quite human thing.
And the ship is in flames, and Twilight's looking around trying to find the person who's in charge to get Anya back, and Anya's tied down below deck because he decides that let's just go into the poop dream.
I don't even want to. I don't know. So I love Spy Family so much, but this was the most strangest thing to ever happen in Spy Family.
Poop.
Yeah, I don't know. Is she dreaming? Is it a vision? I don't know what it is.
Hallucination.
There we go.
She has to go really bad.
Yeah, because it is so weird.
The Colonel's done waiting for her to go to the bathroom, and he decides he's going to dissect her. And he's about to do it, but then Twilight, in his disguise, is able to walk into the room, and while Yor's battling the cyborg, Twilight enters into battle with the Colonel, and he disguises himself as the Colonel, so the other ones can't. So the other ones can't intervene.
To do in that situation.
and that fight's going back and forth, and it's tense, and the plane's burning and everything, and Anya has this microfilm in her stomach. Yours battling a cyborg who's full of like rounds of ammunition in a fiery room, and Lloyd's battling the colonel in the room with all the other soldiers. And yeah, that sounds like a good place to stop for us and have you watch the movie, right?
Absolutely.
And you could watch this movie for yourself on Crunchyroll, home to over 1,000 anime simulcast and anime movies, both subbed and dubbed. So yeah, what did you think of the whole movie?
I absolutely loved it. If you like Spy Family at all, you'll love Code White.
Yeah, it is full of the Spy Family antics, and it really just kind of, it's a really good thriller. And you know, I had a lot of fun with it. This is definitely, I'm getting into anime movies. I've only watched like probably a dozen or so in my life at this point in time, more anime to anime movies. But this is something that we wanted to do in the off week. But it was a great way to start the whole process, and it was, I'm just really looking forward. If the movies are like this, then I'm just looking forward to more.
Yeah.
And it makes me really want Spy Family Season 3 to come around.
Yeah, right? Come on, guys. Where's my Season 3?
So once again, we reintroduced you to the world of Spy Family, and then we took a look at the situation that put Lloyd, Anya, and Yor at the start of the movie. We meet our antagonist, and then we go into the story of how the Forger family save the day. Or do they? So if you like what you heard today, make sure to listen to us on Apple and Spotify. All of our podcasts are there. All DJ Mill for Real podcasts are on there. Check us out on social media and interact with us there. It is linked in the show notes. Until next time, this has been Exploring Anime with Friends, a JMO for Real podcast. Let's explore together.